Dear me, this is a letter I write to you ahead of time because I know there are going to be bumps ahead, and your sanity and your conscience might not always be there to remind you of the things that you should know and how you were brought up. I mean, if you are now venturing into college life, congratulations, you've made it. You're now in university. But there are things that you still were not brought up to be doing. I need to remind you, girl, that the only thing that your mother taught you to swallow was your pride and not some other person's cum just because you're in college. I also need to remind you, boy, that the only thing that your father told you to drink was water, milk, and all the non-alcoholic beverages. But just because you're mixing with boys from all over, it don't mean that you gotta experiment on alcohol. Because you were brought up better than this. I'm not despising those alcoholics, but I'm just saying don't try anything new that you've never done before. Stay true to self. I look at you, girl, and I tell you that ever since your mother brought you up, you knew that on a Sunday or on a Saturday you'd be going to church. But then ever since you got to university, ever since you got to college, the only church that you go to is one that has a full house on Friday and Saturday night. And then they don't wear any uniform that side. And they all usually have a full house. And the only songs they sing are praise songs, and not to the Father, but rather to that thing that you shake when you're in there that your mother gave you. I need to remind you, boy, that you are here from a foreign land, and the only thing that got you here was your mind. Therefore, you got a scholarship to be here. Don't you forget that mind is what got you here, and that studying, that academic excellence is what got you here. So don't get lost. Pay attention to your books. They're what got you here, and they're what's going to keep you here. What I'm trying to say is, dear me, this is a letter that I write to you ahead of time because I know that the temptations are going to come and you're going to be wavered. And then at the end of the day, when you go back home, you'll be a completely different person and your parents won't be able to recognize you because you would have lost your way. Do not lose your soul. Do not lose your identity. Stay true to self. Yes, I know they say that once you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. But then don't you also forget that even when you're in Rome, you are still Zimbabwean or you are still the person from whatever nationality that you come from, which is why right now there are Zimbabweans in South Africa who are still being killed, xenophobia attacks, because even though they are there, they might act as South Africans, but they are not South Africans. So I beseech you, dear me, don't you lose your way, don't you lose your soul, don't you lose your identity. Yes, it's college, it's a place of possibility and where people have fun, but it's also a place where people make the worst mistakes of their lives or the best choices of their lives. So, my advice to you is, dear me, don't you do something new that you've never done before. If you partied like nobody else, if you clubbed like nobody else before, then sure thing is the way that you behaved even when you were home. Continue upon the track unless you decide otherwise. But then if you were not meant for that, if you never did that before, then don't you feel peer pressure to do it now simply because you have nobody to tell you otherwise. That's where that voice in your head is supposed to be telling you that you shouldn't be doing it, which is why I'm talking to you, dear me, right now, that when that time comes, you need to stand firm and remember who you are, your values and your principles. What you were taught are the things that you're supposed to hold dear to your heart. So, dear me, don't you lose yourself. University and college is a very nice place where you can have fun, but have fun within the capacities of the things that you usually did before. So at the end of the day, you wouldn't have changed. You would be literally evolving in the things that you already like and the things that you already partake. But if you were brought up to be the kind of person that doesn't do anything that is experimental or detrimental to your either your reputation or your social life or your health, then I beseech you, dear me, don't you lose your way. The road is tough ahead, and nobody else might be there to tell you otherwise. So I myself am telling you before it happens. I know you're going to listen to me because I am you. Dear future me, please stay true to yourself.